Good morning, everybody. Let's see. Want to make sure we've got everything up. Good morning, everybody. Oh man, you see, that's what I hate is when I start getting all these deals that come up and crap. Good morning, everybody. You got to make sure that the sound's off on all of your all of the little websites. Anyway, good morning. Um hey, happy new year, I guess. Uh that's it. Happy New Year. I'm gonna go close the door here. Ugh. Okay. There we go. And I believe we are live waiting for the tubes to all connect. Look who we got here in the tubes. Miko Wolf is in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Um Let me dive back over here and let's see. Miko Wolf. Okay. Yep, I'm just getting everything kind of rolling here. No Jeff today. Jeff is off with the family doing his thing. Kind of man, I'll tell you what. Uh the you know what I need to do here? Do I need to put these on? I might need to put the headphones on. So, oh yes. Now I can hear everything. I can hear all the good stuff. There we go. Um Now I feel like I'm ready. Okay. Um Radio's on. Everything's looking good, looking up. Yeah, there we go. Big news, man. Holy crap. Um, what do you think of all this stuff going on? Um, I don't know if you read the news today, but holy crap, we did some large scale attack in Venezuela, and now Nicolas Maduro is sitting in a jail cell in uh, in New York, I guess. Crazy, crazy stuff, guys. Um, Nick Shirley uncovers billions of dollars worth of Somali fraud in Minnesota, and now we find that that same Minnesota fraud is actually going on all over the place. And I'm doing a little look-see here in Idaho. Um, Second Amendment news, man, on day one, zero tax dollars, um, or zero tax on suppressor sales. The website crashes almost immediately. Couldn't have, it couldn't have been more incompetent if you had tried. And it makes me wonder if they wanted to do it. What say you guys? I see. Let's see. Nobody in the chat over on Rumble. This is why I let things get kind of stirred up. I try to stir the pot a little bit before we get going at 9 o'clock. Just a couple more minutes and we will be. Let's see. We do have. Looks like Jay. Jay is in the house. Over on um over on Wires X. Awesome. Looks like it might be a light morning for us. Um, but I think this is going to be a really interesting topic that we're gonna try to handle today, and I really want your participation, especially Miko Wolf. I believe you're in New York, um, aren't you? Aren't you there in New York? And I don't think you're in New York City, but you probably have a really good idea of some of the things that are going on there. Um, with the new mayor of New York City, man. He start off with a bang. Oh yeah, hey, let's roll back the protections on the Jews. Let's just get rid of the protections or the enhancements that they had for hate crimes in New York City. So, hey, because I don't want to upset my Muslim brothers, says Mondami. Oh, God. Yeah. Let's see. Maynard Hawkins in the house. Good morning. Let's see. Yes, I am in central New York. Okay. So I guess that's not New York City. I went to New York once. Um, so I have no idea. Let's see. Okay, that's over there. Let's see. Over on the Rumble side, KK7RDO is in the house. Wall 305 in the house over there. If you're in the house, just you know what? You can put out a call sign. You can put out a hey, I'm here. Just want to see who's in the house here. Let's see what we're gonna do. Um, Let me move over to my net screen. This is so the Sky Bridge is still down. So the Sky Bridge is not up. I don't have the Sky Bridge screen. I have the open spot screen is up so we could see who's checking in on the radio. And I have two chat screens running right now. I've got for us to fall back on. But today we're gonna talk about, and let me run here and we'll get rid of the lower third because we don't need that anymore. We're gonna talk about a thing called the OODA Loop, and the OODA Loop is that's a real thing. We teach this in law enforcement. It's taught in law enforcement and military. But I am trying to put the OODA Loop theory together for in a prepping world. And this is kind of really what I call reading the tea leaves. You want
Good
to.
morning, Idaho. AI 5 MFF.
uh, all right. All right, KI5, WFF, K6UDA, good morning, or MFF, good morning. And I got to turn some things down here. Let's,
Good morning, Bob. Name here is Nick, November editorial King from a repeater in central New Mexico.
oh, fantastic. Are you sticking around for the net, or did you just stop by to say hi?
We're running in that. So, go to our local radio clubhouse to play radio there. So, probably won't be here for the net, but if you want to put me on there early for the log, that'd be fine.
Well, fantastic. We got you logged in, and thanks for the shout. And I'm going to get back to the live stream here, and I'm going to start the net here in just about 3 minutes. So good to talk to you, KI5 MFF, K6 UDA. All right.
All right, sir. 7-3. You guys have a great New Year up there, and much health and prosperity to y'all. KI5, I'm at that 73.
All right, real good. New York is a little tiny spot in the New York map. New York is full-blown Democrat communist. Yes, I believe it is, Miko. I wouldn't doubt that in the least, judging, by the way that they voted for an avowed socialist as their mayor. And the avowed socialists said, "Hey, we're gonna do away with rugged individualism, which is what our country was founded on, and we're going to embrace the warm collectivism." Oh yeah, and it's so nice because he's already talked about how he's going to basically take over housing, take over private housing in New York. Man, I don't see how that could possibly go wrong. And I guess you'll have plenty of housing if you chase out all the pesky Jews out of New York, or worse if you whatever. Um. Anyway, 1 minute. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do the radio portion of the net, and then we're gonna get back to this. And I am going straight over to the prepping or the prepper net screen where we've got everything going. And got a few stations. Got a few stations in there on Wires X. Kind of looks like it might be a slow morning. All right, it is 9 o'clock. Excuse me. Mm, I didn't mean to do that. All right. Good morning and welcome to the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. I am Bob, K6UDA, your net control this morning. This net meets every Saturday morning at 0900 hours Mountain Time on the K6UDA repeater, located deep within the Southern Idaho Command in Twin Falls, Idaho. This is a digital radio net accessible via Wires X Room 40448 and YSF Reflector 40448, both called the Idaho Command. Also available on the Hanson Butte 2-meter fusion repeater 145.170, and local hams with analog radios can also participate using the KB7 DFP repeater 442.000. I'll let it break. The purpose of this net is the free exchange of information related to emergency preparedness, commonly known as prepping. We encourage deep dives into subjects related to food, water, shelter, personal protection, weapons, survival tactics, medical issues, communication gear, and techniques. I'm looking for subject matter experts to lead discussions on all these various subjects. If you have material you'd like to present or discuss, when you check in, please indicate that you have a subject. Although not primarily political, discussion of relevant political, cultural, or religious events are welcome within the context of situational awareness and survival. As part of my preparedness plan, practicing for the gathering and dissemination of important news and information to my family, friends, and the local community is what this net is all about. So, as training, we do a sit rep section or situation reports every week. While times are good, like right now, I use general news stories that I find interesting. I ask everyone here to contribute their own stories or sit reps, especially if they are in or near an affected area of an actual emergency. Let it break. In order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, I'm going to do check-ins and comments in the following order. We'll do the local repeater check-ins, Wires X, YSF, live stream, if we get to those, and you are encouraged to check in with your call sign location, your first name, call sign location, how you're getting onto the net. Uh, Local repeater, Wires X, YSF. That being said, do we have any local check-ins, local repeaters?
Delta, Foxtrot, Papa, KP, 7 CFC, Kevin, football, no traffic.
Okay, we got KB7DFP Ken, one of our local repeater owners here, and copied no traffic. Thank you for checking in, my friend. Any other local repeater check-ins? Come now.
Zero, Bravo 7, Sierra Quebec, Sierra. Lance, Twin Falls, 14517, no traffic.
All right, Ken or Lance, good to hear you this morning. Thanks for checking in. Another one of our repeater owners here in the Magic Valley. Any other local repeater check-ins, local repeaters, any of the locals? All right, let's open it up. How about some Wires X? Wires X check-ins. Probably not many. All right, how about YSF? Let's open it up to YSF. YSF check-ins come now. Striking out, guys. This might be a very, very quick net.
7 RVT Medford, no traffic. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. N7RBP. Happy New Year and good morning. Let's see. I see N8 RQT in there, and Bob, I copied no traffic from you. N8 RQT. Go ahead and take a turn.
I'm not sure if my you have one minute for a emergency for since at the I got moved. Yeah, my comment is what I posted on the Rumble on topic on a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Um, Interesting. Very interesting. I didn't know anybody else was thinking like me. But here we are, I guess, two of us on two different days. Very good. Um, I will take a look at that video. Any other check-ins, any mode anywhere. Come now.
And 7 RVT. Good morning.
Yeah, Bob, go ahead. You have traffic?
Good morning.
KF0 OHU. I see you in there. Go ahead and take a turn. K6UDA.
Hey, this is Sean out here in Minnesota. Yeah, we got plenty of news going on out here with the frog and how deep it goes and how far back it goes, but it'll be an ongoing saga for quite some time, I'm sure. Otherwise, so far so good here in Minnesota. KF0, OHU, back to net.
All right, Sean, thanks for that. Yeah, keep an eye on everything for us. I'd like to check in with you on that weekly because, like you said, I think it's going to go on for quite some time, and I think it's going to be like an onion. We're just going to keep peeling back layers of it. Let's see. Any other check-ins for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net? Come now.
Kilo Juliet 7, Romeo Alpha Romeo, Terry. I need your repeater. Grand Falls.
All right. Good morning, Terry. And do you have any traffic for us?
Well, if unless everybody's been asleep, we have a lot going on. We have Iran getting ready to tumble, hopefully and possibly, which will be a great thing for the whole world, and it'd definitely be a good thing for Israel, but it'll also be a good thing for everybody else since they are the ones behind most of the financing of all the terrorist attacks we have, and also Venezuela has been hit with by the U.S. and a lot going on down there. So yeah, a lot going on today.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get into that like right now with our sit rep section. Um, do we have any other check-ins before we close that side out and get into sit reps?
Seven. Bravo Papa Medford. Good morning, Peter Nicholas warmed up by his wife.
Yes, that is topping my news stack here. Uh, let's see. Bob, if you could get a solid connection, yours was breaking, but if you could get a solid connection and if you want to run with that story, I'd much rather have somebody else talking than me.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on with my connection. I'll have to do a little check in here. I'll check into it and get back in 7 RB.
All right. I'll look forward to seeing you back in there. All right, so I'm gonna get into the sit rep section. Um, Breaking news as of this morning. The U.S. has carried out a large scale attack on Venezuela and has captured President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Both Maduro and his wife have been removed from the country, and I believe they may be already back in the U.S. On January 3rd, that is today, President Donald Trump announced U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, flew them out of Venezuela. The operation followed a months long U.S. maximum pressure campaign that included $50 million bounty on Maduro and a naval buildup with about 15,000 troops. After months of pressure, overnight Friday airstrike triggered at least 7 explosions around 2 a.m. in Caracas, with fires reported at the Fuerte Tinu military complex on January 3rd. I'll let it break. Venezuela's defense minister vowed to resist the invasion, while officials say the future of the ruling regime remains uncertain in Venezuela. Military and institutions stay intact. Human rights groups warn strikes on boats uh, killed at least 110 people, possibly war crimes, with Russia's foreign ministry and Iran condemned the U.S. action, and Spain offered to mediate. Do we need any fill? Anybody need a fill? Anybody need or anybody have any additional information on that one? Go ahead. Okay. All right. Let's see. Number two on the list here. Well, I'm gonna skip number two. We'll come back to number two. Number two, we'll say Nick Shirley. 23-year-old Nick Shirley. I don't even know where he's from, but he's been doing YouTube videos for a hot minute now. And he posted a video couple of days ago showing some flagrant welfare fraud in Minnesota that has sparked national outrage. Here in Idaho, a guy by the name of Mark Fitzpatrick, he's the owner of Old State Saloon here in Eagle, Idaho. He has been spearheading a move to investigate several apparent Somali daycares that might be involved in some fraudulent stuff here in Idaho. So it's not just in Minnesota, it's not just in other states. This kind of fraud has been going on. It's rampant throughout the United States. We need to, you know what, guys? It's your money. It's my money that these people are stealing, and I would like number one, or for me at least, to put an end to that. Um, Anybody have any additional information or fills on that one? All right, third and final. Getting back into our Second Amendment news. Baird versus V. Bonta. Uh, Yesterday, January 2nd, the Ninth Circuit three-judge panel appeals court struck down California's long-standing open carry ban for most of the state. Uh, it is likely to be appealed to the en banc uh, ninth, and they'll always go along with California. So I wouldn't expect this fight is not over in the least. I don't know if the ruling included a ban on enforcement of that uh, of the California open carry ban, or a halt in enforcement. So I don't have all the information. Anybody have any other information or need any fills on that? All right. Do we have any other check-ins, late check-ins, or comments? Come now. All right. With that, I am going to put a bow on the first net of 2026. And I want to thank all the nodes that were involved and took the time to move yourselves over to the Idaho Command. I think I want to try doing a like a some kind of a a gun owner's net. Um, Not on YouTube or anything, just on the radio. I'm going to try to put something together. If you're interested, leave a comment on the video or in the chat and let me know that you're interested in being part of a kind of a local gun owners net. And we'll just talk about whatever in the Second Amendment. Um, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and release all the nodes and all the stations to their regular ham radio and Saturday use. This is K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net 73 guys. Okay. All right, my friends. Let's see. Yes, on a gun only net. Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, that's something that I've wanted to do for quite some time now. Let's see. What am I gonna do? I want to run back over to here. Yes. And today we're gonna talk about something. Um, it's not the same OODA loop training, I guess, that OODA loop training is something that is pretty standard in the law enforcement community. Because what happens, I'm going to move over. Let's see. I'm going to move this one over here. And I don't need to see me in the big screen there. What OODA loop training is, it stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. This happens naturally. Everybody goes through this under a stressful or new um, uh, stressful or new situation. And there's these four phases of the OODA loop. And really, we call it the OODA loop because if you get surprised in something, say anything, let's say your average New York mugging. Um, you're walking down the street, you're doing whatever observation you're doing. If you've got your head buried in your phone, that's your observation, is I'm texting and I see very little around me. If you're looking around, but if a guy jumps out in front of you and startles you, you observe that. It takes time. You've got to now orient yourself and you got to figure out, okay, where am I? What am I doing? What are my escape routes, or how do I do something? Then you're going to make your decision after you've oriented yourself to the fact of, oh, wow, this just happened. Um, you've got to make a decision. Are you going to run? Are you going to fight? Are you going to, what are you going to do? And then you act. We're going to get back to that whole thing. I don't want to, I don't want to belabor that whole issue. But suffice it to say that training is everything. Now, in my research for today, I want to talk about what I call reading the tea leaves. We've all seen the the apocalypse oriented movies and TV shows where something happens, nobody knows, and now all of a sudden everybody is scrambling for the same resources and the same let's get out of here kind of thing, bug outs and all the same food. They're all going to the same Costco and clearing the shelves out. I call this, what I say, calling for the reading the tea leaves. I'm going to take two scenarios here. First, let's take an economic collapse. This, I think, is probably one of the greatest concerns now, right now, that I have is the economic collapse. It used to be EMP. I'm finding that less and less right now. Um, Economic indicators. We want to, these are the core metrics that preppers track via the news, markets, local observations. Uh, when several of these things align, it's time to double check your finances, stockpile your barter items, and minimize your exposure to banks or debt. We've got a lot of these economic indicators have happened right now. Rising debt levels, public and private, unsustainable national debt, coupled with households maxing out credit cards or loans. That's a red flag. Uh, if the government borrowing hits record highs while consumer debt surges, um, right now you have what we're in hawk for what is it, $20 trillion or something. It's not sustainable. Our entire GDP doesn't make enough to pay that debt. And we keep racking up more. I mean, we do. The whole Venezuela thing. Well, I think uh, Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro was not a good guy. I'm very torn on us getting into a new war. We're already involved in several of them, whether we say it or not. Um, People are using their credit cards right now, and it's a vicious cycle. They're using their credit cards to pay for groceries, to pay the rent, to pay for the daily expenses of life because the economy was down, and maybe the economy's up a little bit now, but people are behind the eight ball because they used the credit cards during the bad times. And now, on top of rent, food, insurance, car payment, they're paying the credit card debt. They're trying to pay the credit card debt and they're falling behind. And so it's a vicious, vicious cycle. Um, you want to watch for churches and small farms struggling with short term loans. They operate on very thin margins and they're early casualties when the credit tightens or is getting close to a bubble burst. Inflation or hyperinflation. Well, we've seen that. Spikes beyond reason for essentials like food, fuel, housing, especially if wages stagnate. Many indicators include shifts in consumer behavior, like increased sales of cheap luxuries, lipstick, many liquor bottles, as people cut back on the big ticket items. If everyday goods double in price within months, paired with empty shelves, you need to be finalizing your food and water storage rotations, and you need to be getting on board with, these are the final things that I need, the final pieces of the puzzle that I need to get locked down. Stock market volatility and crashes. This is why, guys, even if you're not in the stock market, you need to kind of stay in tune with what's going on a bigger picture. Unexplained booms followed by sharp drops, or the market being artificially propped up despite underlying weaknesses. That 2008, uh, man, I saw a movie the other night about the 2008 bubble burst, housing market burst, and just crazy, crazy stuff. Um, Preppers, eye the transportation sector's performance relative to diesel prices. If transport weakens while fuel costs rise, it's forecasting a broader economic hit, like a supply chain breakdown. Um, a sudden crash often precedes bank runs or ATM limits. We've talked about bank holidays. Uh, I mean, it's we've seen a lot of these things starting to happen, and if you've been paying attention, you've been possibly, and I hope you are, trying to nail down those final things you need. So if everything goes to shit, uh, you could operate for at least um, at least a month or maybe 2 months. Um, Dropping oil prices and demand collapse. Counterintuitively, falling oil prices can indicate crumbling global demand, not relief. If prices drop 40 to 50% amid geopolitical tensions, it points to a necessary to recessionary forces building. Um, Something, hey, uh, Donald Trump was touting, um, hey, gas prices are down, which is good for us right now. And I don't know, I haven't checked oil prices, crude oil, but you're going to have crude oil prices going up, I would imagine, especially on the West Coast, because all the California refineries are gone. California's going to this year start importing, uh, most likely from overseas, from OPEC, um, about 80% of their oil that they need to keep California moving. It isn't. They're not going to change uh, to solar and wind. Amazing. Mass unemployment, recession signals. Job losses spreading from one sector to others, leading to lower tax revenues and service cuts. CEO confidence surveys are dipping. Home sales stalling. For sale signs multiplying in your neighborhood at a street level clues. So start looking at those things. If the economy is starting to go, if construction is going to be a big one. If the construction stops, if people are not spending money on home renovations, um, or they all of a sudden they start, DIYing it, um, and people aren't working. If people aren't working, that's going to happen. And yeah, I look at the amount of forced sales we've got now. I mean, during COVID, there was a housing shortage. We've got so many weird things going on. It's so hard to figure out. And this is where the OODA loop comes in. Um, you observe these things. These are the observations that you see. And then your orientation is that you've got to be able to figure out, okay, is this the is this the real deal, or is this just another one of these little hiccups that it's just going to keep going? And the only thing that we have to go on is our training and experience. Um, let's see. Way From Miko Wolf, way to Bubble Pops, where you buy a house that you can get cheaper. And that might be, yeah, that might be 100% on, right on. I don't know. Gold and silver dropped a little bit. There's something from Terry. So gold and silver dropping just a little bit, but they are so far out. I remember years and years ago, people were saying, "Oh, when gold hits $2,000 an ounce, that's the end of the world. The world is coming unglued." We are looking. I think it's what, over 4,000 now, closing in on five. Silver, which was forever artificially depressed, and it's still artificially depressed. But the last I looked, it was at about 70, $71 an ounce, which is insane. I mean, it's making silver kind of unaffordable for the working class. Um, and Miko Wolf back there says, yes, that's where muscle memory comes in. And that's exactly what we're doing is muscle memory. Over on the Rumble side, let's take a look at a few of them. Um, so YouTube channel Defend Confidentiality, episode 4, has a video on this topic from yesterday. Interesting. I haven't heard of them. I'm going to have to take a look. Silver is going to hit what? $100. Wow. Well, that's where they say, or I guess about a year ago, I read that silver, if it was priced appropriately, would be about 125 an ounce. Um, so, but that starts to make fractional silver almost unaffordable, and you're starting to get out of that realm. I've always considered like junk silver, the 90% dimes, quarters, and halves as as that barterable, fungible stuff. I need a loaf of bread. I can give them a dime, a silver dime, and that would have, maybe a $2 or $3 value. At $100 an ounce or more, it's now very, very hard. That dime, uh, a tenth, that's a $10 dime now. Um, and I mean, in real money, what's that loaf of bread worth? Anyway, let's get back to some of these observations for. Does anybody have anything? I'm trying to kind of trying to catch that as I can. Um, we've got social and behavioral um, indicators. Economic stress manifests in people first. Preppers observe communities for these shifts. They often precede violence or migration waves. Look at California. For the past several years, people have been fleeing. They have a net, they still have migration in, but they have a net loss. And the people that are moving in to California are the very poor and the illegals because they're treated with kid gloves over there, and they're given prizes for immigrating into California and being that good Democrat voter. Um, let's see. Haha, this describes me at a light rail station here in Minneapolis. Uh, China is discontinuing export of silver. Supply and demand has a possibility of inflating prices. That's from Jeff. Jeff, welcome. I thought you were out with the family. Um, but hey, good to have you in the chat. Um, mass migration and family disintegration. People fleeing cities for rural areas. Families breaking apart due to financial strain. Empty houses with lights on, banks foreclosing but staging the properties. Uh, those can signal widespread defaults and a collapsing housing market. Loss of trust in institutions. I don't know. Do we see that? I mean, nobody trusts Congress right now. They have a 5% approval rating. Um, no, and rampant political instability, human rights abuses, obvious graft eroding public faith. I mean, we see that with the whole Minnesota debacle and the child care and health care fraud that's going on at such a massive level. Um, the media. Nobody trusts the media. That's why people are turning to uh, to YouTubers. That's why people are turning to alternative media to get their news, to get something that they could put just a little bit of trust in. And I say don't trust anybody. Verify. You verify everything. Behavioral shifts in spending, over concentration on speculative investments, everyone borrowing for stocks or crypto. Is that going on right now? Yeah. No perceived risk. Um, that was 2008. That was the whole 2008 thing, man. People were diving into the tech stocks, and when there was a little hiccup, it got it got ugly, and you had what Bear Stearns went under, Countrywide Mortgage went under. I mean, they were doing shady stuff, but let's see. Let's see. Commodity shortages and price spikes, empty shelves for basic things like food, meds, fuel. Uh, they're driven by supply chain bottlenecks or freight delays. Tariffs or disruptions amplify this, leading to grocery sector layoffs and higher costs. The imports bottleneck and local production falters due to weather, policy, stock. So you want to stock up if you can. 6 to 12 months of non-perishable items that you can use. That's meds, that's food, that's toilet paper. If you can have some kind of a stockpile, and then I've been seeing these videos on how the government was going to come in and take all your stuff when there's a declared emergency. And we'll talk about that, not today so much, but and what you can do. Um, Infrastructure decay, failing power grids, water systems, or roads. They're often tied to the budget cuts. Oh, right now, bingo. Silver is at 73.54. Holy crap. Silver, gold, platinum, copper used in electronics. They put data center prices. Yeah, the data centers are going to make those prices skyrocket. People moving into California, New York, it's illegal immigrants. Is that what you're seeing there in New York, Miko? I don't know, because I don't know much about New York other than what we see on the television news. Uh, let's say. So I did a little research into this same thing, the OODA loop factor in Civil War. When it comes to Civil War, from a prepper's perspective, a Civil War doesn't erupt overnight. It's a slow burn of escalating tensions. It builds up on political divides, social fractures, systematic failures, kind of like what we're seeing right now. I mean, this has been years and years in the making. And you can just look back at things like the Spanish Civil War, the American Civil War, um, Balkans, Syria. Preppers should monitor these signs not to incite anything, but to know when to finalize your plans, fortifying your location, activating your networks. We're trying to, I'm trying to activate the network here and now, while we don't have to, or at least train ourselves to do something. That's what this whole thing is all about. Um, Stockpiling your essentials beyond the basics, like food, meds, ammo, trade goods. Remember when you're putting together uh, things that are tradable. Booze is always tradable. There's a huge Mormon population here in southern Idaho. Very, very strong. The Mormons don't drink, but there's a lot of other people that do drink. And so even if you're a Mormon, and I don't know what the Mormon doctrine is, but can you can you keep uh can you keep alcoholic beverages for trade if you're not touching it? Can you keep it for trade? I don't know. Um, Deciding on your bug in or bug out strategies, or you should have already kind of decided that, but finalizing those things. And then the possible indicators to look for. Excuse me. Let's see. Miko Wolf says if you live in major cities, you're going to have problems, of course. You're going to have problems if you live in the world. In the country, you'll be good to grow food and have a couple of chickens and livestock. Yeah, that's that is the absolute conventional thinking. But as we look at other countries that have done it, and even in the United States during World War II, when they confiscated gold, Katrina, when they went through and confiscated guns and ammo from people, it was ruled unconstitutional. But what's to stop another, the National Guard, or what's to stop uh, the local police from doing that again on a local level? Um, I mean, they're in the middle of an emergency and they go, well, you know what? It's dangerous. We're going to get rid of it all. We're going to take it. We need to watch out for that. And you need to have a plan. Um, Extreme polarization and loss of trust, deep divides where the people can't even discuss issues civilly. Wow, do we have that going on right now? We have, I mean, Charlie Kirk getting killed over words, over trying to discuss things. I've seen countless videos where the left doesn't even want to discuss with the right, um, their concerns or their their positions. Uh, Preppers note when trust in elections evaporate, claims of fraud, regardless of validity, can spark flashpoints. That's something that we've seen in the last two elections. Government weakness or overreach, signs like bankrupt finances paired with wealth gaps leading to austerity or favoritism, invocation of emergency powers, martial law, conscription. Um, that signals that the system itself is slipping. If sympathetic politicians or media figures emerge on your side, it means sides are formalizing. It's time to secure your alliances. I'm going to take a quick second. I want to just see what we have going on here. It looks like we've got 19 or 20 on Rumble. It looks like, uh, it looks like how many here? I don't know how many on, where is it? On YouTube and on X. I don't see much going on X. So, we'll go back. We'll go back to this. Oh, looks like 13 on YouTube. Don't see any on X right now. So it is what it is. Social behavior indicators. Society fragments before the bullets fly. These are the street level clues that normal life is unraveling. Increasing violence and riots. We saw that. Um, we've seen almost everything on this list in the past couple of years. Neighbors or relatives turning on each other, perhaps incentivized by rewards for reporting insurrectionists. I don't know how much of that we've seen. Formation of enclaves based on ethnicity, religion, ideology with local identities. Um, Scouse first? I don't know what that means. Mass arming and prepping surge. Sudden spike in gun sales. Have we seen all of this stuff happening? I mean, but everybody keeps saying we're so far away. Civil war is not on the table. And I'm reading all the indicators. And it's like, holy crap, people. Inflation, unemployment, wealth gaps. These are the economic indicators. Skyrocketing prices for basics while wages stagnate leads to greater tensions. Um, Resource competition and economic despair. Disruptions making people focus on now, survival over future planning. Hungry, jobless crowds that are volatile. Watch for food riots. Now, if we start seeing food riots, we're going to have some real issues because honestly, you could talk about all this, as much as you want, but when your next door neighbor, when their kids are hungry and they see you with food, they're going to want it and they're going to do what they can to take it. So these are and what are you going to do? Are you taking all that food for yourself? Or are you going to maybe through the local church, and that's how I would do it, is through the local church, is you give the church stuff enough so they can hand it out and then you could have enough for yourself. Breakdown of law and order, police losing authority in areas, vigilante groups outperforming them, uh, high trust society eroding, security tags everywhere. If urban areas see shock value and military presence like tanks, checkpoints, rural preppers prep for drone surveillance. That's something that you need to be aware of is government drone surveillance. You start seeing those things up above, and then maybe doing your own drone surveillance if you can is a good way of getting intel. Supply and energy disruptions, targeting manufacturer and infrastructure, empty shelves or blackouts. This blends with all the other economic signs. So you want to know your local farmers. Military or paramilitary involvement. Chatter of veterans, ex-police, active forces siding with factions. If loyalists cluster near cities and convoys get hit, it's low-grade war already. Now, luckily, we have not seen that I mean, we've got Antifa doing their thing, but for the most part, those guys are just they're idiots. They're not. That's not a serious force. Um, they they can be shut down and shut up by a small group of well-trained individuals who are committed to a mission. And thankfully, we haven't seen any of those groups come out yet because I think once that happens, uh, that's going to really be the signal. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about confiscation of resources. Um, we're all kind of concerned about it. Historical precedents for confiscation. The U.S. government has had a track record of seizing private property during crises, often often justified as necessary for national security or economic stability. Gold and silver. There is a high likelihood of gold and silver, as in 1933, during the Great Depression. President Roosevelt issued Executive Order 6102, requiring citizens to surrender gold bullion and certificates of reserve at below market prices, with penalties up to 10 years in prison or $10,000 fine. Silver, similarly targeted in later executive actions. Um, let's see. I'll get to a couple of the comments in a couple of minutes here. Firearms and ammunition. Medium likelihood. I brought up Katrina already, where they did it, and um, it is the Supreme Court said that that was a clear violation of the Second Amendment, but coupled with martial law suspends habeas corpus, suspends uh, certain certain articles of or all of the Constitution. It can and revert down to military UCMJ. Stored food and medications, lower likelihood for personal stockpiles, but possible under rationing. During World War II, the government implemented food rationing and seized hoarded supplies via the Office of Price Administration. Through this, targeted entities more than homes. Um, but we could see that on local levels. So, um, if you're planning to bug in, you might want to think about spreading out your spreading out your stuff and hiding it in plain sight if you can't hide it specifically. Um, but we'll do something like that. Um, we'll do another whole thing on hiding your stuff. Let's see. NYPD can recruit anybody at this time. Yeah. Um, and the New York police, that is going to be very interesting under this new mayor. Um, I I know of a couple of NYPD folks, and they are kind of doing the watch and wait. There could be upwards of 3 to 4 thousand that leave. But then again, they could decide, hey, you know what? I've got 5 years left before I could retire. I'm going to stick it out. Same kind of thing in California. Uh, People want out. They know what's going on there. They want out, but they're sticking it out because they go, well, I got 5 years left, or I got 10 years invested. I don't want to blow off my retirement if I don't have to. And that is, again, that's the OODA loop. People in the business are, they they're making their observations right now, and they're assessing, and they're orienting themselves. Is it worth staying? Would it be worth leaving and just saying screw it? I blow off my 10 years because my life. 4,500 have resigned from the NYPD. Isn't that something? Miko Wolf um, says empty shelves and blackouts look like New York City in a couple of months. The rest of the state isn't going to bring food to them. They voted for it. Well, you know what? Keep an open mind, Miko Wolf. Don't say the rest of the state won't go along with this, because if you do nothing, you're complicit. Um, because that the other city councils, other counties within the state of New York, and the state of New York will come in and bail them out. And will they do it at the expense of you guys? Probably. Probably. 4,500 have already resigned from the NYPD. I think that might be since Mondavi got elected. In 5 years, there will be no retirement available in New York City. That's that. It's sad. You're going to have. Here's what I predict. New York City is going to have this huge push in the next year of recruiting Muslims into the NYPD, if they haven't already. But they're going to fill all these 4,500 vacancies, and they will fill them with a whole lot of Muslims. And so now you're giving a whole lot of people who aren't, no, they might not be U.S. citizens, and they're not loyal to the Constitution. They're loyal to the Quran. And you give them a badge and a gun and the power, and what will they do? You will have de facto Sharia law in 2 to 3 years. I don't know, but hey, I know I read something today that the governor of New York ordered like all these green lights, some Muslim thing going on in New York right now. Um, the whole state of New York is bowing down to Islam. Dangerous, dangerous stuff, guys. If you're in New York City, you need to start looking at you need to start looking at getting out. Okay, a quick little let's see, EMP. Let's see, it's 10. Okay, I saw something very interesting called the fourth. You might have heard of the fourth turning, but it's what it is. It's an 80-year cycle, and it's the Strauss-Howe 80-year cycle of major American crises in American history, and we are at 80 years, guys. This is the 80th year since the last one. The last one was World War II, I believe. It's not strictly about economic collapses, but it pretty much is all about big economic upheavals within our country since our founding. Um, let's see historical examples. The American Revolution. The crisis peaked around 1776 to 1783. So you had 5 years. The Civil War. The crisis peaked 1861 to 1865, about 80 to 85 years later. The Great Depression, World War II, peaked 1929 to 1945. That's quite a bit longer. About 70 to 80 years later. The fourth turning projected to have begun around 2008 with the global financial crisis, expected to climax or resolve by the late 2020s to early 2030s. Keep that in mind. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I I ran across that and I thought it was kind of fascinating. One of the things, a case study in New York for this, and then we're going to get back to this whole OODA loop thing. I thought, wow, um, Mondami taking over, and on day one, he he gets rid of an executive order from the previous guy who was a Democrat, by the way, Eric Adams or Eric whatever his name is, who had instituted, I think, what probably a year or two ago, hate crime enhancements, and this was directed at protecting the Jewish population in New York. And I guess New York has a fairly large amount of Jews living there. But anyway, so those protections now are gone. And that was on his day one. And I'm wondering, is this so the Muslim population can start targeting the Jewish population there and doing whatever they're going to do, and it won't be a hate crime. It won't be considered a hate crime, or they won't get enhanced penalties for doing whatever they do. Let me get rid of that. Some of the things that they were looking at, or that when I did my research here, it says, look, if you're a Jew in New York, you need to start looking for these things. Rising hate crimes against Jews, and they said that that it is up 50% from March of 2025. Shift from verbal to physical threats. Early signs are slurs or online hate. You've had a lot of that going on nationwide this last year, especially with the Palestinian thing going on and all those protests. Muslim Jewish specific tensions. Reports of anti-Arab, Muslim, and anti-Semitic crimes rising together, often tied to protests post-Hamas attack. Blah blah blah. Threshold for action: if incidents exceed 300 to 400 annually in New York City, or in your neighborhood, sees a 20 to 30% rise, consider that a red flag. That's something. One of the other things is that since Mondami became mayor, I guess that he has cut the NYPD budget for protecting synagogues and Jewish centers and Jewish areas in in New York City. So, I mean, all those indicators are there right now. Let's see. Yep. And there's a lot of Orthodox Jews in New York City. So we'll see if there's like a mass migration out by the Jewish community in New York. Um, Now, I want to get into applying the OODA loop to bugging out or bugging in a shit hits the fan scenario. The OODA loop, again, observe, orient, decide, and act. It's a cyclical decision, and it was developed by military strategist John Boyd, who was in the Air Force. Very widely used in law enforcement. We train this in law enforcement. Um, Scenario training, stress inoculation. Having done these things in training, you fall back to your lowest level of training. Um, and we as preppers need to do this. Some of us do. Um, Observing. This is the surveillance phase. So we need to be gathering our own intel. You're scanning for signs of instability without bias or overreaction. Hard to do without bias because um, we all come into this world, or we're all in this world with certain attitudes and biases. Um, I would say most of us in the preparedness community are more right leaning, um, more individualized mindsets. We are fans of rugged individualism. Um, we're looking for sudden runs on banks, ATM shortages, widespread credit card failures. We've had a few of those, not widespread, but we've had, the websites go down for a day or whatever. It's an indicator, but not a whole, not a huge deal. Stock market plunges. If there's 20% drop in a day, or hyperinflation signs like skyrocketing prices or on essentials, full food and fuel. And we've seen, the hyperinflation started, I would say, 5, 6 years ago. It really did. And what we've seen is not so much, and I take Costco. I always like to take Costco as my example of everything. Instead of Costco saying, okay, a bag of chips right now, the big bag of chips is, it was $9 before. Well, now it's $12. Well, now it's going to be 17.99 or 24.99. They shrink the amount of They shrink the bag, they shrink the amount of product in the bag, and they sell it for that lower price. But now your price per ounce is way up. We've all seen it. So we need to keep on looking for that. When eggs went crazy back during COVID, or no, that was last year. Was it last year? No, 2024. Because the government ordered the culling of chickens. So eggs went from $1.99 a dozen to what, $7, $8 a dozen overnight. Boom. Fuel prices in 2021. I remember when I moved to Idaho. I went the day after we got here, filled up, and diesel was $1.91 a gallon. Within 4 months, Diesel was over $4, well, close to $5 a gallon. Well over $4 a gallon. Things like that going on. Social and civil unrest indicators. Escalating protests turning violent with reports of looting, widespread arrest. It's happened in several of the big uh, blue cities, not so much outside of the blue cities. And where you really want to look for is food riots. Um, when that starts, that's going to be a real telling thing. Social media trends showing panic buying, migration rumors, or calls for unrest, which has been happening. We've seen the migration out of California, out of New York. We've seen the calls for unrest. Um, a lot of them on the left right now. It's like, hey, let's start the glorious revolution. I'm just glad that we haven't gone into the glorious revolution. I don't know how long we can hold out, but hopefully hopefully we avoid it. Prolonged power outages beyond 24 to 48 hours without clear restoration timelines. Water supply contamination alerts, or fuel shortages leading to long lines at stations. Communication blackouts, such as internet cell service disruptions or jammed emergency lines. Okay, here's something I'm going to say. You might have a communication blackout due to an external force, but hear me, guys. The government, I saw a kind of a funny the other day. It said National Security Agency, the NSA, the only government agency that actually listens to you, and they're listening to us all the time. They could tap into these at any time. They don't, at all costs. They do not want you giving these things up in mass. Um, these are your tracking device. These track you into every store you go into, um, everywhere, the roads that you take, everything. So my opinion is they will do everything they can in their power to keep those things rolling, because they want to be able to track you. And without something to track you, um, it makes their job of keeping tabs on the population very, very hard. Um, let's see. Natural environmental warnings, official alerts of impending disasters with evacuation orders, environmental shifts, unlike weather patterns, like wildfires spreading uncontrollably, disease outbreaks, political or governmental cues, declarations of emergency, martial law. That should just scare the hell out of everybody. Border closures, government officials fleeing or inconsistent messaging, downplaying the risks while quietly preparing. International tensions escalating, threats, war, cyber attacks, EMP risks, personal and local red flags, neighbors stockpiling or leaving abruptly. Let me tell you, if your neighbors are stockpiling or leaving abruptly, and you're not, and you haven't clued in on this, you either live in the most prepared neighborhood you possibly could, or you are running around without looking around. You have absolutely no observation skills, and I don't see that very much in this group. Unusual traffic patterns like military convoys or refugee movements toward or away from your area. Direct threats such as targeted harassment or surveillance. You want to orient, you want to analyze and contextualize all your observations, all those things. Pattern recognition. This is the most important part of the whole OODA loop is analyzing it because you, well, in that daily thing, in that use of force context, you have to be right 100% of the time. You don't have to be as right in this, but you gotta be pretty right on. How you interpret the data that you've just seen, all that other, all that other stuff. How do you analyze it? How do you process that data? Pattern recognition, acceleration. Indicators are worsening rapidly. Unrest is spreading from the blue cities to non-blue cities to outlying or suburban areas in some of those states. Um, intercorrectness. One trigger cascading into all kinds of others. An economic crash leading to riots and supply line failures. Unprecedented elements like a coordinated cyber attack shutting down grids. Risk assessment. Excuse me. Wow. This is like crazy, crazy stuff, but it's stuff that we have gone over many, many times. I mean, I know you guys have, I have, um, you know, this is, I'm just kind of trying to break it down for you. Proximity. Threats are closing in on your location. Um, 10 miles away versus 100 miles away. Duration. Short term. Uh, short term emergencies, 72-hour storms versus an indefinite societal breakdown. Alternatives. Staying put might be safer if the bug out routes are compromised. So we need to start looking at that and then 2 or 3 alternate routes that you can get out of your area. And this is why it's so important if you're reading the tea leaves and you're early on before before the EMP goes off and everybody is on the freeway trying to get out of town, so to speak, and the road is completely blocked up. Just think if you had an extra 5 hours before that happened, how far can you get? Your bias checks. Avoid confirmation bias. That's hard to do, but you want to do things as neutral as possible because I don't want to leave my safe house or my safe place prematurely and say, okay, I'm going to my bug out location and never coming back. If you do that prematurely, you you run the risk of not having part of your infrastructure or your main infrastructure, or now you're giving up your job, you're giving up your livelihood or your business when maybe you don't have to quite yet. So you want to cross verify. You want to consider your opportunity cost. Bugging out too early drains your resources. Um, the mental threat level. Your green, your monitoring, medium, yellow. I run around kind of in yellow condition most of the time. Red is high. You need to act like right now. If mentally it's red, that's time to That's time to act. You're almost late to the party. Deciding to commit to a course of action based on your orientation. Now, where are you? Um, are the is the enemy at the gates? Are they amassing um, more troops at the gates? You've seen all the indicators, and now you go, yeah, everything is there. It's all there, and they're just waiting to shut the door and shut you in. Uh, do you hunker down? Do you get out now while the getting is really good? Decisions should be reversible where possible. So if your bug out location is say 200 miles away and you can go and tell your boss, hey, I'm going on I got to go on a family trip. And I'll be back in a week. Based on your orientation, you've got to choose timing, the sweet spot. This is where really reading the tea leaves is the big thing. Pre-onset, the subtle buildup, and you could get out. Um, it allows you a safe, low traffic evacuation. The onset at the very, very beginning. I always said this for EMPs. At the very, very beginning, within that first 4 hours after an EMP strike, and I would tell my wife this. I'd say, look, if the power goes out at work and you look outside and all the cars are stopped along Highway 49 and people are running around and the power goes out from time to time. Power goes out at your business. Your phone doesn't work. Nobody else's phones work. The cars are stopping in the middle of the street or they're pulling off on the side of the road and there's no traffic. And she ran a store. That was her store. I said, lock it up, send people home, send your people home with, a handful of food because the store ain't coming back tomorrow. It's that at that point, I will I will come get you and we're going to make our way back to the house and then we're going to we're going to put our plan into action and get out. Um, but that is for, like really specific, the EMP out of nowhere. Um, Early chaos. Okay. First reports of widespread looting before you get to a full lockdown mode. If you, let's say you're in New York and you're in upstate New York somewhere, and that what's happening in New York City is, now moving out to Poughkeepsie or some other, Buffalo. And you're starting to see it happen in other areas, or you're seeing it in your area, just starting. You want to avoid those peak areas where the roads are jammed, you can't get fuel, and you don't want to run into roadblocks where the authorities are restricting your movement, not letting you in. Bug out if staying risks your life. If while your home's in a flood, or and you got rising water, or you're uh, you're in the middle of that war zone. Stay in if bugging out exposes you to active civil unrest or something else, um, whatever might be happening. You've got to then once you decide, okay, I'm going with plan A or plan B. Once you decide, you need to move decisively. Now is not the time to second guess yourself. You've made your decision. It's time to attack it and go. If all the indicators say bug out, then it's get your bug out bag, get whatever you got to get, and get the hell out. If you could take enough in a car and you've decided I'm getting out this much early, where it's getting kind of bad, but it's not full blown bad yet, and you've got a place to go, and you're going to take more of your infrastructure with you, great. If once it gets to that red time, you've got to almost expect you're going to be on foot with a backpack, and that's no way to bug out. That is no way to start your new existence post post shit hits the fan. So to get that going quickly, you got to have your preloaded bug out bags. Got to have routes where you're going, how you're going to get there, how are you going to pay for fuel if the credit card systems aren't working? Do you have cash? Do you have some silver that maybe you can barter with a gas station owner with along the way? Do you have food for your evacuation? You want to monitor your changes. And if the situation improves mid evacuation, you could consider going home. And then you've got then the last thing is your feedback loop, is your post action review. Were your indicators correct? Can you adjust for a future cycle? If you've done all your homework and you've done this whole OODA loop thing, what do you learn from it? And how do you make it better the next time, or the time where you go, okay, these things were there. I'm almost ready to bug out, but one thing there kept me, and that was the right move. Everything simmered down. Ah, okay. That's all I got. I'm done. Ah, does anybody have anything? Okay, let's get back to some of the dings. Oh, don't let your from K Falls Bob. Don't let your cell phone track you. Get the Faraday bag. Yeah. Um, I am gonna do some more Faraday bag testing. As a matter of fact, I saw one on a video last night, I believe, where a guy was testing out cheap, mid, and the high end, the Mission Dark bags for phones, basically. And there was one that really, I mean, it was small and it fit around a standard cell phone, and it blocked everything out really, really well. This guy tested it, and it blocked out the incoming and outgoing signals. It blocked out Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And I think I'm gonna order them. They were like $6 or something on Amazon, and I'm gonna order one of those and I'm gonna try it out. Goist Best Faraday Bag. What is a GOSLNT Best Faraday Bag? I'll have to look at that one. Let's see. There shouldn't be any hate crime enhancements, just like there shouldn't be any speech laws or enhancements. From Shadow Bear. I struggle with that, because I mean, we've seen that happen so many times against so many different groups. And when it's bullshit stuff, it's one thing. But when it's like real, you're burning down synagogues because they're synagogues, or burning down churches like what was it in uh, the other night on New Year's Eve? And it looks like it was probably a Muslim thing, burning down one of the oldest churches in the Netherlands, I believe, or somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it, but it burned to the ground. And that is 100% a hate crime against Christians. Campaign fraud. Yeah, let me go. I'm gonna go back through some of these deals here. Whoa, what did I just do? What did I just do here? Sorry, guys. All right. um Gary says looks like we just took over Venezuela in a day. Yeah, it's the 1 day war. I made a couple of trolling comments on X this morning about that. There shouldn't be any hate crime enhancements. I struggle with that. In one respect, I go, okay, I get it. Um, and I'm not talking about words. I'm not talking about, you know, calling people dirty names or nasty names. I'm talking about real violence uh, based on real prejudices. Um, is burning down a church not already a crime? Yes, it is already a crime. But I'll tell you what, if you burn down, say you burn a car, you just torch a car, or you torch a church, should that be treated exactly the same? I don't think so. But under the law, arson, well, in California, arson 451 PC, it's the unlawful burning of a object or a place. It's all treated the same. Whether you unlawfully set a couch on fire in your front yard or somebody else's couch in their front yard, or you burn down the largest or most historic church in the city under the arson law, that is treated the same. But if you could say, no, we hate the Christians and we won't tolerate them anymore in our city. And so here we're going to burn down your church. That's a little bit different. That's to me quite a bit different than setting a couch on fire or burning a car or even torching a warehouse. Let's see. Um, Anybody else got anything? Or should go silent? Go silent. Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you, Bingo JM. Um, know your routes out of town. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me put a couple of these up here. Uh, Bingo JM. Stay out of your phones while out of your house. Head on a swivel. Good advice. I'm gonna start traveling with my phone um uh in a Faraday bag, and I'll use it when I have to. Um, carry to protect yourself, pistol and truck guns. Caches at your friend's house. Uh, now I agree with that partially, but I'll tell you what, when unless your friend, unless you 100% trust your friend with your life, when things get really bad, what's to stop your friend from taking your cash? And if he's like you, there is that chance that his house will get raided the same as yours. So hiding stuff at his house, I would say maybe if you got a small cache or something that you want to, but you're also putting them at jeopardy by doing that. And if they put their stuff at your house, it's the same thing. They're putting you at jeopardy, and you have the same amount. You have stuff floating back and forth between the two of you that implicates both of you. It's better to do it off property somewhere where uh, you can't establish clear lines of ownership, and know your routes out of town, and know the back roads. Yep, 100%. All right, 23 people on the YouTube, and how many? How many? 14. Only 14. Wow. YouTube has beat Rumble today. And Rumble is the home, guys. Rumble is really my home about this. Um Anybody have anything else? Because if not, we're going to just say, hey, you know what? Well, we're about time. Gifted a subscription to the Idaho Preparedness Channel. Thank you. Uh, Siren E. Siren E. You could, thank you so much, man. That's freaking awesome. Um, I don't know if anybody has anything else. Last minute, I'm gonna let the tubes try to catch up. If not, then we'll see y'all next week. Also, hey, whether you're on, especially if you're on YouTube right now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notifications, because look at that. There we go. Shadow Bear was gifted a membership by Cyrene. That is freaking awesome. Thank you so much. Other people should, if you want to help out, I would love to have you guys help out. Happy New Year. Yes. Happy New Year, everybody. Um, yeah. And yeah, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification on both of them, Rumble and YouTube. I know the audiences aren't big. I know the turnouts aren't big, but I think we're trying to do something here that's to help us all. Uh, let's see. Not so much agency. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream now. I want to thank y'all so much for being here. Cyrene, thank you for gifting a subscription. Um, and we'll see y'all next week. Later.